guys, my name is Jackee Love, and you have just tuned into It's All About Love. Thank you for joining me today as I talk about different topics. Right now, the topic I want to talk about is learning to love yourself. When I was younger, I used to think that when you loved yourself, that meant you were arrogant and conceited. And I thought, how the heck is it okay for somebody to actually love themselves? You see, I grew up in a family where people didn't love themselves. They always sought outside of their self for love. We grew up in a church and they always said, the man was going to come and marry me or the girls in church, and they were going to be happily ever after. See, I grew up in this times when we had the Cinderella programs on TV, and Walt Disney was famous back then, and all those, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where the prince came to save the girl. And my mom used to even tell us stories every night before bed, just to let us know that if we are good girls, if we're good people, then we will get the perfect man. And I searched for that my entire life. I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and just wherever I was, I had a love addiction, not a sex addiction, but a love addiction. And that there's a difference. That is when you cannot be by yourself comfortably. You need to have someone at all times in your life. And if there was a threat of them going away, that would just be like I would feel hopeless. I would feel I would feel like I wanted to die, and I would get so depressed when I would end a relationship that I would sleep for like 2 weeks at a time. And I always said that, like my mom, I would never be alone because after she got a divorce from my father, she never remarried. And I always wondered, how could she be okay with being alone? And that was something I totally feared, being alone. Like, what do you do when you're alone? Like, who do you talk to? Who do you cuddle at night? And, it was always in my mind that I always had to be paired up. And I always have been paired up my entire life. And the few times that I was not in a relationship, it felt like it was a death sentence. I was standing in the prayer lines at church, getting hands laid on me like all the other women, believing God for a husband, believing God for my soulmate, and never really ever taking the time to get to know myself. And, I didn't know back then that that wasn't the way that it was supposed to be. That's not the way that God wanted it to be for me. But it took years and years before I finally realized that learning to love myself is actually the greatest love of all. That is like not something I wanted to do. Like, I said, well, no, I don't want to like, I do love myself, but I love myself more when I'm in a relationship, coupled up, booed up, or whatever they're calling it nowadays. It took God to finally pull me away from my last long-term relationship and put me in a little house here in Apple Valley, just to myself. And I thought I honestly was gonna die. I didn't I didn't want to learn how to love myself. I didn't want to be like on a deserted island, like a castaway, like Tom Hanks in that movie. Tom Hanks had befriended that soccer ball that he found, and the packages that came crashing down with him on that airplane. And now I totally get that because I have my teddy bears that I cuddle at night, and I don't talk to them, but they're my riding buddies in my car, and I do cuddle with them at night. And that's actually a good thing because while I have been sort of like a castaway, I have learned to love myself. I had to look at myself in the mirror and just face all my fears. I had to face my fear of being alone and not having someone all the time. I had to learn how to cook for one person and enjoy my meal without having other people around to cook for. Because my kids are all grown now and they have their own lives. And that's okay because I did the same thing when I got grown. I moved away from my mom and, I got my own life. And that's what they're doing. They did turn out to be great adults. And they know how to take care of themselves because one thing, they seen me go to work and they seen me do things that I needed to do for them. But now it's a different phase in my life, and I didn't plan on not being in a relationship at this point in my life. My plan was to grow old with my spouse, my soulmate, the one that was promised to me in the fairy tales that my mom used to tell us at night. But God was like, no, you didn't come here just to be somebody's wife. You came here for a purpose. And that meant that I had to take all the experiences that I had, good and bad, and learn from all those lessons. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, you know what, you're okay, you're good either way. If you're in a relationship or if you're not, you're still going to have a good life. One thing about I learned that being alone is that I don't have to, I'm not worried about somebody and if they're going to do this or if they're not going to do that. I mean, only person I'm just really looking out for is me. And I didn't want to do that. Honestly, I didn't want to do that, guys. I thought, oh my God, if that happens, I just want to die now. Put a knife in my heart right now and just take me now, God. Or just sleep, let me die in my sleep. Because that just seemed like a death sentence to me. And now it's been almost 3 years and I've learned that it's not a death sentence. I mean, I still, I've actually learned to enjoy my own company. I've actually learned to watch a good movie with popcorn and enjoy that movie with just me, myself, and I, and the angels, and God, because you're never alone. The Bible says, and this is nothing about Christianity, but it's just the truth that I am with you always, even until the end of the world. So God has given angels to be with us every day, and I've learned to depend on my angels, to ask for guidance, to just be assured that I'm never alone. So if I ever feel alone, I just say, angels, help me. I don't feel secure. Balance me, ground me, help me feel better. And I learned how to be my own safe person. I used to depend solely upon my boyfriends or my husband or my sister. My sister, she was the one that I went to for everything, and she was my confidant and my best friend. And we are still close now, but we went through a time when God separated us, and so I didn't have her as a safe person, and I had to again face my fears, and I had to learn how to tell myself that I'm pretty. I had to tell myself that I love myself. I love me. I love Jackee. And it was hard at first, and I even got counseling. I mean, I got a good therapist, and since it was COVID-19 times, and everything was on the phone and on video chat with ADHD, that was really great for me because I didn't have to get somewhere on time, and that was always one of my struggles, being on time. So that was very helpful, probably for a lot of people, so far as being able to visit with the doctor or online or on the phone, and that helped me. I've been in therapy for over almost 3 years now, and I can't even recognize that girl that I used to be. You know, um, this time in my life has been really a big eye opener. It I have changed tremendously, and I'm still changing and growing and learning about myself. I just learned not too long ago, a few years ago, well, actually 2017 or 19, 2019, that I had adult ADHD. That meant I had ADHD when I was a kid, but I was never diagnosed. But that answered a lot of questions because I would always say, why am I always late? Or why am do I think this way? I would have high highs and low lows. I would get seriously, really active and creative and just staying up all night and just doing all these things, being creative. And I couldn't sleep. And sometimes it wouldn't matter because I was just so busy, just being creative, just being myself, or just just it was just a thing that I did. I would always tell my kids, I'm in cleaning mode right now. Don't bother me, because I would be cleaning up the house and reorganizing. Not like a crazy person, but just getting stuff done that I needed to get done in the first place. And then sometimes I would then shift to the low lows, which you do when you have ADHD. But I didn't understand that, and I would get so down that I would have to sleep, as much as I could after work or on Saturdays when I was working a full time job. But I always thank God because I had the kids, and that kept me getting up in the morning because I had to take care of them. So now that fast forward, fast forward to now, I don't have the kids to buffet me and to say, okay, you got to get up in the morning, you got to take the kids to school, you got to go to work so you can take care of your kids. So now, when I first got faced with being a single person, I had to learn like reasons why I should get up in the morning, and that took a long time because it's like I don't have kids to take care of. So what is the big deal? Like I thought my life was over, but I had to learn, and I learned in therapy. And just because I'm a study person, I love to study, and I research and just got to know myself, and I had to learn that I'm a good reason to get up in the morning, that my life is not over. I still have things to do. I still have people to help, people that are dependent on me to get better so that I can help them help themselves, so that other people won't have to go through the same things that I went through. So now, with all this knowledge that I have gained, I still, have times where I get anxious, and I have to pray and I ask God, to help me because I get stressed. But I just noticed that He does help me every single time. And when I get lost and I don't know what to do with myself, I just say, God, help me, show me what to do. He said He would order our steps. So He does every single day. And when I don't have, what I feel like I need, He shows me how that He does supply all of my needs. And just like His eyes on the sparrow, He always watches over me. And it doesn't matter. I learned that even though I am in the process of healing totally, um, I am still learning that it's okay, like to be okay, even if you're not in a love relationship. It's okay to love yourself and put on some makeup still, or not put on makeup if you don't have to go anywhere. But like, still, it's okay no matter what to enjoy your life, to enjoy a nice walk in the park, or to enjoy a nice bonfire, or to listen to some good music and just vibe out and just dance and dance by yourself. Dance with you and Jesus, dance with you and the angels, dance and just enjoy your life. It's okay not to always be in a love relationship. I think it's so important now that I have been put to the test and passed. Believe me, it wasn't always easy. But now that I have been put to that challenge, um, being put on the island, I feel like as a castaway, and on the shelf, I feel that I feel grateful, honestly, that I had this experience, because if it wasn't for this experience, I never would have been able to really take a look at myself and say, who are you, Jackee? Who are you, Jackee Love? What do you like? What are your favorite colors? What do you not like? What do you actually want for yourself or desire? What purpose do you have here on earth? And while I've been here in this place of solitude, I have learned to love myself. I have learned to do things for myself that I never would have done if I was coupled up. And not that I don't want to be coupled up, or that that is a good thing. You know, I believe that no one should ever just be alone all the time. I just believe that sometimes it is a good thing to do things on your own just to see that you can do it. I've always been wanting to go to the Grand Canyon, and that was always a dream of mine because I used to see people on TV that would travel and go to the Grand Canyon. And to me, I thought, oh, wow, that seems so romantic, you know? And I wanted to go, and my plan was to go with my soulmate. You know, when I was a kid, that was a dream date to go to Grand Canyon, to go on vacation and spend that time, you know, just looking at the beautiful sceneries and just being, you know, awed by the deep canyon because I never ever seen it before, but I seen it on TV. One time I did see it when me and my brother came here from Indianapolis, Indiana. We drove here, and well, we didn't drive. We came on the Greyhound bus, and the bus stopped to at the Grand Canyon. And at that time, I couldn't find my glasses because I wear glasses, and I couldn't find them. And I was like, I barely seen it. Like we only stayed there for maybe 30 minutes or less, and you know we were on the bus, and so you know, my brother was watching over me like, you know, just stay here because he didn't want me to get lost. So I couldn't even look out the window and really see it because I couldn't find my glasses. They were deep down in our bag somewhere. He found them later, but so that doesn't really count. So, what I'm trying to say is that has always been my dream to go with my soulmate. So it was so funny the other day, guys. I was thinking about it, and this seems like, you know, birthdays keep rolling around, but I still want to go to the Grand Canyon. That's my desire. It's like on my bucket list. So I was thinking in my head, you know, I don't have, you know, someone to go with me to the Grand Canyon. So I was thinking, I don't want to go by myself, you know, because I don't know, like the Grand Canyon is really deep, and I'm sure it'll be kind of like overwhelming in a way when I see it because I have this phobia of things that are big, you know, like I used to be afraid to drive in the mountains and stuff, and now I live in the mountains, so that's crazy. I overcame that. But I decided that I am going to find me a nice women's group, and I'm gonna go to the Grand Canyon. I'm going to go. I am going to the Grand Canyon, and I am going to have an awesome time taking pictures and selfies and all that good stuff, and going, you know, on the little excavations and seeing the sights, and I'm going to enjoy myself with or without a soulmate. Because guess what? I'm my own soulmate. I am my own safe person now. And not to say that I don't need other people, because of course people need people, but I want to say it's only because I have learned to love myself. And even though the old Jackee wants to creep back in and wait for my soulmate, you know, the birthdays keep coming. And I still would like to go to the Grand Canyon before I leave this earth. So I've decided to find a good group to go to the Grand Canyon. And so I'm going to take pictures and I'm going to make videos and I'm going to post them on my channel. It's all about love, and I'm going to share those with you. And I am so proud of myself in advance because that was not me in the past. I would never, ever think about going with a girls group. I mean, because the way I felt, the love addiction is almost like being addicted to alcohol or crack. You know, not that, like I said, it's not about sex, it's just about having someone in your life. And you, like, when you have a love addiction, you'll be in a bad relationship just because you'll stay in a bad relationship because you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone, so you just stay there because you say, well, at least I'm not alone. But then on the inside, you're dying. You guys, anybody out there know what I'm talking about? You feel like you're dying, but you don't want to be alone. Um, especially the older you get. Because when you're younger, like when I was younger, it was easier to say, okay, I'm gonna just get another boyfriend and just get another boyfriend, and but when you get older and say, no, I can't do that. I don't want to be in all these relationships. So you stay longer, and then you try to work it out. You pray about it. You pray to God. You say, God, please fix this. But it's like I learned that all the relationships that I did have, I have learned from them. I've learned how to be a better person. I learned that the things that I don't like and the things that I do like. And honestly, in the end, before I ended up here, I had to fall apart. I fell apart because I wasn't built right in the first place. And it's not because God didn't love me, it's just that I had a wrong perception about love. I thought love was a fairy tale and you would live happily ever after with your perfect soulmate. And you would be married and, have the perfect house and all these things. That's what I wanted. That's what I desired. And I went after that like wholeheartedly. And I kept getting my heart broken. Not saying I've never broken any hearts, because I'm sure I have. But now I'm learning to be content in every state that I'm found in, like Paul. And I'm okay with, being in my own company. I'm okay with, I enjoy my meals now. I know how to make a meal for just me. And if I make a little too much, guess what? I have leftovers for the next day for lunch or something to take to work. I've learned how to be okay with doing, sitting outside because I'm a Virgo and I love the earth. So I like to be outside and look at the stars. I've learned to appreciate the stars and learn how to appreciate my own company in front of a nice fire pit that I built, a nice fire, and just enjoy music and enjoy my company. And I didn't think I could ever do that. I never thought I could do that. I thought I would see the older women when I was younger, and I would say, "Man, I ain't never gonna be alone like that." I don't know why. I just thought I didn't want that curse to rub off on me. It's like why are you alone? Like, and they would be okay with it. It looked like I know now that they probably wasn't okay with it. Not all of them at first, but eventually you have to be okay with yourself. You have to learn who you are. And so now I learned that I had ADHD, and I learned why I was always late, and I learned why I had highs and lows, and I've learned how to be a better person because I had this time to myself and with God and the angels. So I just wanted to come and share that with you guys, that it's pretty much inevitable that you're going to come to a point in your life where you're going to have to learn how to love yourself. So why not do it now? Why not study yourself? Why not find out who you are? Like, start by figuring out, are you a Virgo, a Leo? Are you a Sagittarius? Who are you? Are you a Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, Capricorn, Sagittarius? Who are you? And what makes you tick? Because a lot of people don't think, especially in the Christian world, don't do the zodiac sign stuff. Like, they're taught us that everything was wrong, but that's so untrue. But a lot of them didn't know their self because they learned that from someone else too. And that's one thing you have to learn when you learn to love yourself. You have to unlearn a lot of stuff that people they told you or taught you that wasn't even true. You have to learn how to unbelieve all the stuff that you learn from a child, from people who didn't know themselves what was really going on in this world. So that is very important. And that is a painful experience as you say, dang, I thought it was this way, but it actually wasn't. It actually wasn't the right thing, you know? And I'll be talking more on my channel about things that I learned that was wrong, and I believe wholeheartedly. I didn't know that I was a manifester. I didn't know that what actually meant to be made in God's image. I didn't know that. That is really a literal statement. Like, we are actually made in His image. Like, we are creators. We are co-creators. I've had my back against the wall, and the only thing I had was my pen and my paper, and to get things that I needed, like groceries and car repairs and just different things. And I learned from Oprah Winfrey. She said she always journals, and I was just like set against that for a while because having ADHD, like it's kind of boring to just sit there and write and stuff. It's like plus my handwriting was really kind of messy, and taking time to write stuff was just like if I wasn't in a mood, it was super boring. But being in this place of solitude taught me to sit my butt down and write down what I needed and make it plain. And that is how I would manifest mostly everything that I needed. Everything. I'm talking literally my washcloths, toothpaste, everything. And and I have done that, and I see it, and I see how it works. And it doesn't necessarily get taught to us in our churches and synagogues, etc., in a religious organization. I learned that I can go to God for myself. I can talk to Him directly, and that I have angels. And I keep doing this because there's little hairs that keep flying over in my face. So I just wanted to share this with you, that it's okay to learn to love yourself. It's okay to be in solitude for a little while. I don't think it's going to be this way all the time, but I am really glad now that I did have this opportunity to learn how to hear God's voice, the inner voice, which is, that your intuition. And a lot of people say it's demonic to say you have a third eye, but we do. That's our intuition. That's not evil. It's because we need to open up to that so we can hear the voice of God, hear our angels, hear our intuition that is helping us and guiding us on this earth plane to have a successful life and to be healed from all the beliefs that we had that weren't true. And oh my God, this hair. But we have to learn the real truth. And being in this place has taught me so many things. And I just know myself better, and I love myself now. I know that it's not conceited to love myself. I know that it's necessary, because how can you love your neighbors if you don't even love yourself? How do you expect someone else to love you if you don't even love yourself? It's so important, guys, to love yourself. It's very important to know who you are. Just start with the little things, like what is your favorite color? What kind of music do you like? Try it to see, like just learn to love yourself. It's not all about always being booed up. It's not all about always having someone to be there every single time. Because sometimes when you are with someone, it actually makes it more complicated. It actually makes it more complicated because you don't know what you really want. And then you're expecting that other person to help you figure it out. But that's not how it works. I wish, but not now. I don't wish. I used to wish, but that's not how it works. And you need to learn to love yourself. And sooner or later, you're going to be put in that spot. And the longer you put it off and look for love outside of yourself, the longer it's going to take. And you don't want to leave this earth without learning how to love yourself, because that is one of the things that we came here to do, among other things. So I just wanted to share this little talk with you guys, and I appreciate you standing by and listening. If you like these kind of videos, please leave me a heart in the comments, and give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share this video, because I plan to do more videos just talking randomly about different things that I have on my heart, because I feel that I can help to heal the world's hearts with love with my experiences. So thank you again for listening. My name is Jackee Love. I am your life coach. So if you ever need a life coach or a Reiki healer, just go to my website at JackieLovesHouseOfHealing.com. That is JackieLovesHouseOfHealing.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. I'm a dragonfly.